Hello and welcome to Coconut Chats, everyone. Today it's me, Harita, and I'm joined with Shomita. How are you going, Shomita?
I'm good, Harita. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So today we have got a guest who we've actually interviewed before. So some of you might remember we interviewed Kristina Masalova about herself and her partner and also their rescue dog called Traveling Chapati. Well, that was a really feel-good interview, but this time, as a lot of you know, they live in Ukraine. So obviously they've been affected by the war and basically living through it every single day for maybe 50 days so far, around about. So we thought we'd have a chat to Kristina and her partner Eugene to see what they're going through and what it's actually like living through it. So hi Kristina and Eugene, how are you?
Hello everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
We are quite fine as it's possible, because unfortunately during these days it's already more than 60. You cannot feel absolutely safe nowhere in Ukraine. And like when there is a question about safety, it's a top priority. So the rest of your feelings are not that important than understanding that your family is safe. Yeah. If I say that our lives have changed, I would probably describe nothing, because it's like you were reborn. It's like you started a new life. You was born in different part of the world in the different times. So it's like nothing in common with our previous lives, except that we still have to breathe and to consume food in order to survive, and that we still love each other and we love chapati. Probably all the rest is absolutely different.
Yeah, we just have this feeling that we don't have any past anymore. So the life we had before, it is somewhere very, very long time ago. It means like, it seems like years passed, but only 2 months passed. You don't have any past. You don't have any future. You just live your day by day, just, I don't know, trying to find yourself in the new reality. That's what's happening.
Yeah. So what are your day-to-day lives like? Like, I know you've mentioned to me before that you've both lost your jobs. So how has that impacted you, not having your source of income or not having a job to go to anymore, and just, I guess you're just sitting at home waiting for all of this to end?
It all started just with a desire to survive. So we fled from Kiev the first day of the war, when the bombing started, and everything you think about is just to survive, to keep your family safe. And after that, you need information, what's going on, whether it's like becoming worse and worse, or is there any chance to survive and to win this war someday. So you just start to browse all the news, you read all the analytics, like all day long, you just doom surfing, you just trying to do something. I mean, just to be busy. Otherwise, it's just impossible, because if you start to think globally, you understand that you know nothing and you don't like have any possibility to see what's gonna happen.
And at least you need to know where the army of the enemy is, because you need to understand if they are moving to the city we're currently in, yeah, maybe we need to escape even from here. Yeah, but luckily this were, I guess, only the first months when we did absolutely nothing except from reading all those news. As for now, we found few more activities for ourselves. So we are now volunteering for different organizations in order to help our country to win. We also try to make some videos for Chapati's media. We are making streams on Sundays with her followers because many people want to know what is going on here and is Chapati safe. And it's very relaxing for us because it's like you feel like you are living at those moments when you can just have a conversation with someone. Because in Ukraine, it's very hard to talk to your friends because everyone is in those troubles, and all those conversations, they're too depressive, I'd say.
Yeah. So what other type of volunteer work are you both doing?
Tell about your project first.
Yeah, what I'm doing is with my good friend and brilliant architect, we are making a project of, let's say, like a refugee housing made from modules. So we're making the project of model houses, refugees, because so many people, they don't have a place to live anymore, as it was destroyed, and those people fled that they lived in. And there is a crucial need in housing, and all these houses need to be built quickly, to be quickly deployed, and to be very efficient in terms of production date and the cost of production. As we had some ideas about this kind of housing years ago, and we started this project much earlier. So right now we are trying to speed it up and to finish everything so we can, let's say, grant this project to any governmental structure who want to use it. I mean, we can just give all the details, all the scams and models, like all the files that they need to produce.
Yeah, well, I just recently joined one project. I wanted to volunteer for quite a long time, but it was kind of hard for me to choose for which organization to volunteer, because of course you want to be absolutely sure that everything is clear there, yeah. And at some point, when I understood that one of my friends has has founded a fund, I decided to join it because, of course, I can be sure in what my friend is doing. So it's called Help Lab, and they are raising funds and then buying technical equipment in different countries because it's impossible to buy it in Ukraine at the moment. Yeah, so as I have some background in SMM, in making Chapati's social media, so I just started to SMM for this organization. So like everyone helps with his own competencies, you know. I can't be a soldier. I don't have such a good complexion for that. Yeah, but I know that I'm good in this. That is why I'm helping in such a way.
Yeah, that's also why we chosen to volunteer instead of trying to make at least some money. Because, you know, like, of course, like I was a marketing specialist before, right? And my knowledge is basically how to build brands and how to market them. But right now, in Ukraine, the majority of real economy is connected to the war or just to basic needs like food and some clothes, some really simple products. So like nobody needs that fancy brands, and that's why nobody thinks about rebranding or making other brands or to market something. So
as a specialist, he's not needed at the moment in Ukraine.
Yeah, and of course, I, for example, can, I don't know, drive a cab in a safe city and to earn for life. But, you know, like my knowledge and my experience is, I'd say it could be implemented much better if I do something for the country itself. So I chose to make this housing project because I am good at project management, and also I'm connected to design and architecture quite a long time. So I'm not a professional there, but I made few projects as a project manager, as a leader of the project. So that's why I decided that it would be much better for the whole society, for our community, if I don't go to drive a cab, but I will do something better for everybody. So, and we see it a lot that, you know, what is great about the situation, I mean, if I have to find at least one good thing, is just that the society is united, that everyone is involved, so many people are volunteering. So like everybody does what he can in his place just to help the society to survive. And that's why we are sure that everything's gonna end with our win. Because when the nation is united as that, when everyone is involving, everyone is volunteering, and like it helps even the soldiers to fight more brave, right? It gives them confidence that the whole nation is standing behind them. So that's what the good thing about the situation, the only good thing.
Yeah, it's really great that you guys have figured out ways to make yourself useful to the situation. I know otherwise it's so frustrating when everything else is out of your hand, just sitting at home and feeling like terrible. So it's really great that you guys are participating in this volunteering work. So I wanted to ask something. So in on media we see certain things, but in general, like as like a normal usual citizen of the country, so did you guys see this coming, or is it all like a big surprise for everyone and just one morning everything changed?
Actually, everything started in 2014 when we lost the Crimea and the whole war on Donbass started. So it was the first part, and it lasted a long time, long 8 years. But these years, for the majority of population, it seemed like something far away. I mean, I'm not telling about Crimea because it was really significant, but everything, the war in Donbass region, it was like crucial and heartbreaking for those who lived there, who had to leave their houses and to move to another part of Ukraine. But for people elsewhere, it was of course terrible, and everybody knew about that and were frustrated. But I mean, when it's not full scale, it's just some regional thing. It couldn't like.
We still lived our lives,
Yeah.
you know. So yes, we knew that there is war in Ukraine, but our lives didn't change at that moment. But what happened on the 24th of February is what changed all people's lives in Ukraine.
And like we hoped that it wouldn't come, but we were expecting it somehow. Probably after the troops were gathering and organizing around Ukraine's border. It started from October 2021, so like almost 5 months as we were under stress, and like everybody was talking that it doesn't make any sense, so there is not going to be a war because it just don't have any economical sense, any political sense. It's just stupid to have it. So that was the only reason everybody was thinking like maybe it's just a threat, maybe it will go, and because it just doesn't make any sense. So we were thinking and we were hoping for some kind of logic.
Yeah, but when we heard the first explosions in the morning of 24th February, you know, it was like, God, we knew that it might happen. Why didn't we do something earlier? Why didn't we move somewhere?
It just was basic first feelings about your safety, and like when you are under stress and you are being around those bombs and hear all these sounds and you don't know what's happening, and then you read news and you hear that these bombings are all around the country, and all the borders of Ukraine from different roads and angles were already broken, and the troops are inside your country from everywhere. You just don't know what's going to happen next even 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think you were saying earlier that you left the town that you used to live in. Is that right? So where were you based before and where are you now?
But in case you don't want to disclose your current location, just feel free not to say that. So yeah, just saying that. Yeah.
It's not a problem. We're already sharing that in Chapati's media. Hope that we're not going to become like official enemies of Russian Federation and be hunted on.
No, we are safe.
Yeah, so we used to live in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. When everything started right on the first day, we decided to move to my parents, who live in Kropivnitsky. It's central Ukraine. It's around 300 kilometers away from Kyiv. We knew that at that point, Kropivnitsky was safe. So we decided to move to my parents, to take them with us, and then to move from Ukraine. But while we were on the road, the martial law was already applied in Ukraine as the war has started. And this martial law, it prevents Eugene from leaving the country. So all men who are aged between 18 to 60 years, they cannot leave the country while the war is going on. So we came to Kropivnitsky. We understood that now Eugene cannot leave. And we are still in Kropivnitsky for already 2 months. So it's not the safest place in Ukraine. On the Western Ukraine, it's much safer at some places. But here, at least, we can live at my granny's. So we don't have to pay for rental. And of course, when you don't earn money, paying for rental is a very, very big deal. Yeah.
So when did that martial law come in place? Did they make that law on the day that the war began?
Yes.
Yes, it was applied the same day, and we have kind of mixed feelings about that, because of course the government, it has to prevent men who can't fight to leave the country, because the majority of men in Ukraine, they at least have some kind of, let's say, education connected to the warfare, because in some
at least they have some courses on that in the university, yeah?
Yeah, because so many universities have this opportunity to study a course about warfare, to have like some basic knowledges. And so the majority of people, they at least know how to fight, or some kind of basic stuff. And for those people, of course, it's just impossible to lose them and to make them leave, to let them leave. Otherwise, you just need other people who don't have any knowledge and any experience. So it just was made very quickly, because it's difficult to, to judge whether that particular man is worth being here in Ukraine and to fight because he has experience and knowledge, and the other one can go because he doesn't have anything, any experience and any knowledge.
So to make it easy, they just restricted all men from leaving, yeah?
But I believe that it could be changed. It could be changed in some point when all the men with experience and education will be held in Ukraine, and other could go. Because anyway, we need some, some impulse for economy. So people need to work. If they can go abroad, for example, and to work there, to earn money, to send it to Ukraine, to help army, whatever, it's much better than
just staying in Ukraine.
Because all these men without knowledge and experience, they can't go to army anyway, because it's already over full with people. So many people willing to fight that they are put in reserves, but they are doing nothing because the economy stopped, and it's like its work and activity decreased a lot. So those people are just like trying also to volunteer. They are willing to fight, but they don't have enough experience and knowledge. So they are just in reserve. And of course, we are receiving more and more weapons from our allies around the world. And we are making, these rotations, which is very good for the mental health and physical health of the army. When some men who are fighting, they go for a rest and another replaces them. But anyway, of course, there is to understand, we have a regular army and we have a civil guard, people who just wanted to defend their territory and their cities. So they are organized, they were trained, they were armored, and they are also a kind of power. But so many people still want to join the army, and they are not let. So it's better to let anybody who doesn't want or can't join the army and fight just to leave the country. So probably this law gonna be changed.
Mm-hmm. So what's the government doing to help people that have lost their jobs and lost their income? Is the government providing any type of funding so that you can pay for your living costs or anything like that?
Yes, there are some programs. It depends on the different circumstances, but mainly just to cover some basic needs. So
people who lost their jobs, they can get help from the government, which is like the minimal salary, I would say.
It's not even a salary. It's like $100, less than $100, New Zealand dollars or Australia.
No, I'm talking about the other stuff. I'm talking about those who lost their jobs. They receive more than 100 New Zealand dollars, but still it's very small amount of money. And as for now, the prices for groceries has risen quite a lot. So it's super minimum. And our problem is that as we used to be freelancers, we don't have enough documentation in order to apply for this help. And we can only apply for help as refugees. And this is 100 New Zealand dollars, which is like, you know, it's not even enough for Chapati's food for a month. And luckily, we don't have to rent an apartment, because renting an apartment is like at least 1,000 New Zealand dollars, at least.
I mean, you know, it's good government doing at least something, because we understand that the war itself is a costly thing. So it costs us so much for our country, especially when economy slowed down drastically. It just stopped. And moreover, just to make our troops on the front line being like feeling that they're noticeable and they're important for the country, our government increased their salaries like few times. And that's what more important, because we need people over there. We need people to fight, to defend our country.
So the help which government provides for civilians is like the maximum they could do at this moment, but it's a very small help for people who used to live their life. So it's not enough even just for food, not even saying about something else.
So when you like say, you know, at the moment you're living with your parents, so if you have to go outside to buy groceries, or if you have to go outside for anything, how safe is it to actually walk around on the streets at the moment?
In Kropivnitsky, it's quite safe. We have alerts in case if a missile is heading somewhere to your place, or like the track. They see the trajectory, the way of the missile, and on all that way they will alert all the cities, so people would hide and stay in the safe place.
We have it at least a few times a day.
Yeah.
So this air attack sirens.
If something is going to happen, we are we knew that we know that in advance. We have time in order to come back to the house and hide in a safer place. So, but we are talking about Kropivnitsky. It's not same safe in many different cities, of course. Eugene's parents and brother and my uncle, they used to live in villages near Kiev, which were occupied very, like maybe you know Bucha, an infamous Bucha where so many people were killed. Yeah, so they were stuck in the basement of their house for 2 weeks. They couldn't leave the basement of the house.
They didn't have any electricity, no water, no food. So my parents had to eat only potatoes during these 2 weeks. They didn't have anything, and they just didn't. They couldn't go outside of their house, and they cooked just on a fire in their own basement. So that was the reality. And the real fightings, they were less than a kilometer from their house. So heavy bombings, tank fire, gunfire, like everything. So they didn't sleep and didn't eat for a long time. And then they managed to escape. And the same with Kristina's uncle. They also been to the place where so many civilians, like dozens and dozens of people were killed. And like officially more than 400 people were killed. And they just didn't manage to escape during the first day, and they hide it, and they just were in that basement, like all depressed with all this, you know, feelings, like doomsday feeling that they're gonna die. And luckily, one day the green corridor was there, like our government managed to make this green corridor, and they escaped. But even now, like almost 2 months, like more than months passed, but they're still can't believe that they're survived. They like have a great PTSD.
Yeah. So before the missiles and all of that happened in their villages, did they know that was going to happen, or was it just all of a sudden?
It was quite sudden, I guess. Yeah.
I mean,
and it was troops to come. Yeah, it's a bit different situation. It's like
when you are bombed, you still can escape. I mean, you can just try to find time after the bomb and right away start moving. But when your town is occupied and there are tanks on the roads and they gun into civilians, that's when you don't want to go outside at all. But I mean, for those people, they were in small towns. They didn't expect troops to come, of course. And it was like the first experience, because after that, after those places were occupied, when Russian troops moved into another areas in different parts of Ukraine, in that case, those government officials, they told people to leave if they can. But here in Kiev region, it was the first case. It was just the beginning of this war. So nobody knew, actually, no, nobody knew that troops gonna kill civilians. Nobody knew that.
That's why,
impossible nowadays.
That's what I was about to ask. So whether there was any like announcement or some kind of alert that came that okay, it's happening, so maybe the civilians should evacuate or something like that. Nothing.
In the beginning of the war, nobody knew that. The only thing we knew was that let's say Western governments and USA officials, they said they were informing about the war could start like next few days, but they did it quite a few times, and nobody really believed in those concrete exact days.
Yeah, so after they told that for, let's say, 10th time, we already we heard that. Yeah, you told that it will start a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
But knowing that and having had this information, when the bombing started, when we heard these sounds, right away we understood everything, that the war has started. It was just a real connection.
You
know, I called our friends, like the one who is a talented architect and his wife. I called them at 5 o'clock in the morning, and like my words were, it has started. Like I didn't say that the war, I told it has started, and they understood everything, even though they were asleep just half a minute ago.
It's so hard to believe. I really, I won't say that I understand, because it's very hard until you are in that situation. I don't know, like it's unimaginable for me, because all that you have been saying, that we have seen these in war movies, like from the past century, like that has happened, but this is like a reality. And today's world, we talk about human rights, this and that so much. So and when these kind of things happen, it's like a parallel world we are living in. It's something we didn't know that still existed. Yeah, something like that.
Same with
we
us.
Have the same feeling, because of course there is a huge difference, and you can never understand fully what we are feeling.
Yeah.
But say we cannot understand what are feeling those people who are in occupied cities
or on the front line.
or on the front line.
So probably the distance between you and us are the same as with us and those people who are like feeling everything, and the bullets are just flying around their heads.
So, you know, even I've heard the idea that now, like in Western Ukraine, let's say, where there are so many refugees, you can easily see a person who is from Eastern Ukraine, who is from occupied cities, because when alerts start, people from these quite safe territories there are, okay, it's an alert, they're walking to the basement, and people who went through all this, they can fall on the ground. They have like this panic attacks, which you can easily see.
Because for them, any alert is attack. It was like that.
Yeah.
So how can people that don't live in Ukraine, if we want to help you guys, or if we want to help the people of Ukraine, how can we do it? How do people send money over, or how can people send whatever Ukraine people are needing?
Talking about our family, we at some point we decided to make an account on Patreon in order to ask everybody's friends and followers for some even small donations, because of course, like we really lack money. We live in a credit at the moment, and time will pass and we will have to pay for that credit. Yeah, so we made a Patreon account for Traveling Chapati, which means for our family, and also PayPal. So if somebody wants to help our family, you can find these details in even on Instagram. We have a link in a bio, or we can answer to messages and to say our PayPal and so on. I would say that it's also very important to help animals of Ukraine at the moment, because so many shelters were attacked, so many shelters and those and different, not sure about the word, okay, let's say shelters, they just didn't have possibility to bring food. Yeah, so there is one organization in Ukraine, which like the most powerful one, the one whom you can absolutely rely on. They are called You Animals. So donating them is also great way to save so many innocent lives. There are different platforms where you can help the army, but of course, as I've already started to volunteer for Help Lab, I would say that it's a very good idea to donate to Help Lab, because I'm sure that all the money go right for the army. We are not receiving any salaries for us. We are volunteering, and all the money, they go directly to buy all those tactical equipment. And what else?
It's not. It's more than enough.
Yeah. And you can, of course, always join our Sunday live streams, or just watch them later on Chapati's Instagram. We share all that information, and we will be happy to answer all the questions and give links for many possible ways to help our country, our people, our animals.
Mm-hmm. Just one last thing. I was curious. So, you mentioned before that the prices of grocery and the what you use day-to-day life that is going up. Yeah, definitely. I understand the transport has been disturbed. Like there are a lot of problems there. So, is the government making any stand to standardize the price to help people, so that, because these are like basic amenities, if the prices go high, people may be in worse situation than you are in, so they may not be able to buy that minimal stuff. So is the government standardizing something, or do you think that along with the scarcity, there is also, like, sometimes it happens in some countries, I'm not sure how it is with you, but there is black market, where people keep things aside and deliberately raise the price. So what do you say about it?
It's very easy to answer this question because, right now, when we have this active phase of war, so the main problem is, of course, to help troops and to win the war. So we are receiving a lot of humanitarian aid and support from around the world. So right now, there is no problem for a price increasement. Because if somebody doesn't have a possibility to buy like a basic food, it can go and ask for humanitarian aid to have it. So I think that all this standardization, probably they will come afterwards, just to help these social like groups which are not able to feed themselves. And right now, I'd say that the only standardized price I know is the fuel. Yes, because it's like we lost so many fuel. Before that, we received it from Russia, from Belarus mainly, and also so many our fuel bases and plants which like actually make this diesel and petrol, they were destroyed. So the fuel is basically imported from the Western countries, from Poland and other countries, and that's why it is it became a huge product of need, and sometimes it's really hard to buy it because anyway the main users of fuel is of course army, and we need it for that. That's why it's sometimes really hard to buy fuel, and the price increased a lot, but still government made a lower tax for that, just to make it a bit lower than it could be. Otherwise, it's like more than 1.5 times it increased in prices.
Yeah, that's good that there is a lot of humanitarian support and people are standing by each other. That's really important in these situations. It's really...
Oh, there are so many cases, like like people making bread or preparing some kind of food in their small cafes, which used to be like very nice businesses, and they right now they don't work in those frontline cities, but they still cook, and they just go on streets and giving it away for anybody who needs it.
For territory defense,
for poor people, for all people. It's a great spirit of support and help.
Exactly. Yeah, this is where we regain our faith in humanity.
Yeah, but it's sad that it takes something like a war for this, united behavior to happen. Oh, it's so, it just shows, the two of you live in Ukraine, and it just shows what we see on the news in New Zealand, Australia, and every other country in the world is only just one tiny little snippet of what's actually happening. And sometimes the news doesn't even report on half the truth. So to all of you listening, if there's anything you want to do to help, then you can follow the links that Kristina spoke about earlier in terms of sending money to them or to other people in Ukraine as well, or you can get in contact with any of the charities that she mentioned. Because as she said, it's not easy for people to just flee the country when you've got literally a ban on almost every man in the country being able to leave. So it was really, I guess, good is not the right word, but it was good to actually be able to talk to people that are actually, you know, going through it right now to actually see what it's like. Thank you so much for your time today. We really, really hope it gets better soon. In my head, I thought it had been 50 days, but you just said 60 days. So that, you know, we don't even live in your country. And even to us, it's like, you know, losing track of how long it's been going on for. But if there's anything our listeners can do to help, you can always message us at Coconut Chats. And if you want to be put in contact with Kristina and Eugene or any of the charities that are helping with aid, then just reach out to us and we can send you the relevant contact details and links. But in the meantime, Kristina and Eugene, please stay safe. And I hope your families and Chapati stay safe. And if there's anything we can do, just let us know.
Absolutely. We are staying positive because we see the strengths of our people and we see the support of the whole world. So one day, sooner or later, we're gonna win and the world itself will become a better place.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Sorry that Chapati didn't join our conversation. She's now playing with my parents' dogs. And for her, it's more interesting activities than giving interviews.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.